Welcome to the Hey Tori podcast. Today is our first ever guest episode, and it is with Tonya from Memory Barn Studio. So during this episode, we talk a little bit before we start recording about how we met. So you'll hear a little bit more about how we met because we had followed each other for a while and then we were trying to figure out like when do we start interacting. And then she shares two really great pieces of marketing advice that she is doing. One of them is online and one of them is in person. And I think they're both really good for us to think about implementing something like what she shares. Now, that's a little bit later in the episode. So be sure to listen all the way through to hear the advice that she gives. And we also talk a little bit, actually, a lot about the book club. So the book club has to do with my book, Workshops Unleashed. Now, the book club is open right now if you're listening to this episode right when it releases. Otherwise, the book club runs every July and every January. So if you hear about the book and are really interested in it, you can grab the book anytime. However, the book club will be running twice a year, so you can jump in whenever that's open. All right, so enjoy the first guest episode of the Hey Tori podcast. Welcome, Tanya. You are my first guest on the Hey Tori podcast, and I'm so excited you agreed to be here and talk a little bit about you and the book club.
Thanks, Tori. I'm honored to be here.
So, right off, before we started recording, we were talking about how we got to know each other, and we met mainly through a free thing, and then you canceled it,
Yeah,
which is totally fine because sometimes we're not quite ready. And then through the book club, right?
right.
Right. Okay. Okay. So let me ask you a little bit about you. So what do you do currently as a business?
Sure. The business I have is Memory Barn Studio, and we have several different arms to this business. The primary one is we make fidget quilts for um, dementia, Alzheimer's, autistic kids, or patients, um, kids. I heard last month that even stroke people who are recovering from a stroke can benefit from a fidget quilt. I actually it is such a cool story. My sister, it's a long story, but my sister's father-in-law just passed away, but his roommate at the his unit is a 42-year-old man. He only has like the brain capacity of a 3-year-old, and he really cannot use his hands for fidgets and that kind of thing. So she just wanted something all texture. Well, he loves trucks, so I got in that 3-year-old little boy mind and fixed him one, and he got it the other day, and she said he absolutely loves it. So yeah, so even people who have I started really narrow, and I just keep getting bigger. So, I say in my talk, who can benefit from this? Absolutely anybody. But that is my main arm. Um, I also do alterations. I'd like to get out of it, but I am doing alterations. Um, I write traditional patterns, and then I'm starting to teach in 2 weeks. So yeah.
That's so cool. How did you get started with quilting? How did you start with it?
I think I started like a lot of people. I was when we were first starting to have kids, all of our friends were having kids. So we just made baby blankets and that kind of thing. At that point, it was not good quality fabric. Think late 1980s. And I didn't know what I was doing, and I just tied them. And they were 9-inch squares, so there was not it was not dense quilting at all. So but then we got a few years later, I started making, like table runners or wall hangings or something. And then they were small enough that I could hand quilt them. And I do like to hand quilt if it's not too big. So,
So how did you turn it from a hobby where you started making it for family members in general, and then how did you turn it from a hobby to more of a business?
well, unfortunately, my mom was diagnosed with dementia, and we were about 500 miles away from each other, so I really couldn't do a whole lot, just in the day-to-day care. And so so I was researching it because that's who I am. I'm a researcher, and I stumbled upon fidget quilts, and I said, "That's something I can do." Well, the more I researched, the more I realized, yes, there are people out there doing it, and I really appreciate that. But they're expensive. So maybe if we had a pattern out there, it wouldn't be as prohibitive for, makers to make. And it it just kind of grew from there. And at the same time, I was working at a tailor shop, and he was getting ready to retire, and I did not want to take it on by myself. So it just kind of all happened. So at one time.
I love that you saw a problem and then you started to fix it. And then you took on another part of your business. I know as creative business owners, we tend to have several things going to
Mhm.
help create a full business.
Right.
So talk to me about how. So you saw that there were fidget quilts, and you saw that there was a need for those in the community. I absolutely love the way that you design yours. And I know that you turned that into your first classes.
Mhm.
So what made you, and let me get to a bit about the book about teaching. So when you went to start teaching, was there something that sparked that move toward teaching?
Um, eh, I'm not sure. I think so. Um, over I think I took the book club the first time. That would have been 2 years ago, so 24. So that's summer 24. So back in, like, January, um, I had started just there would be this sew along over here or this group over here, and I just started meeting people, definitely it's virtually, but and just in getting to know people in those groups, opening up and actually talking in those groups, because I was at first it was that was really hard to talk and to look at myself and all that, You, you just have to get over it, right? So, um, and now people are like, "Well, just shut up."
No, I'm sure they're not.
um, but so I would have people in that 6-month block. Well, do you have a program? Do you teach with guilds? And so it wasn't like a bam moment, it was a here's a little seed, here's a little water, here's some little sunshine. You know what I mean? It's like it just kind of it was organic. It really was. And then when I saw the book club, it was like, huh, maybe I'm ready for Tori now.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so right before the book club, for those like 6 months, you've got these little seedlings with some water that are just like leading you toward you need a class, you need a program, you need something to help spread. And we're talking about fidget quilts specifically, right?
Right, right.
Excellent. So when you decided to join the book club, what helped you say, yes, this is for me?
Well, because I had followed you for a long time, you had built up your credibility for me. And I was like, well, let's just see what she's got. So, and I mean, there's plenty of teachers that teach teachers, but I don't know that there's anybody who, and if there is, I'm sorry, but that does this, teaching the workshops, and that was intriguing to me.
So it's perfect. So it lined up with exactly what you wanted to do and the subject you wanted to teach.
Mhm,
That's great to hear.
mhm,
Awesome. Okay. We do have the book club coming up, which is one of the reasons why we're having the interview today.
mhm.
So I wanted to ask you what during the book club helped you move forward in actually creating the class?
That's a good question. I took it twice. The first time, I think I finished everything because I like to finish where I start, but I didn't I wasn't there yet. You know, I wasn't ready to teach. I kinda shelved it for the year, and then when it came back around, I joined it back again, and I did do the business, tier so that I could be a part of, um, the round not round tables, but, the discussions and, have you look things over, and it was because by then, by 25, I was in a place I was ready to get it going, and, it yeah, it I think it had to simmer a little more,
Mhm.
and by that point, I had visited a quilt show, saw absolutely nothing about fidget quilts, and, um, my marketing husband said, "You need to do this." So, yeah.
I totally
He's
agree with
not
you.
in marketing, by the way, so he's just my marketer.
He sounds very encouraging.
Uh,
I remember when you joined the club the first time. So the first time I did it, I had it free throughout the
yes,
entire, everyone was free. And the
right.
second year, last year, 2025, we had the two tiers. We had the free version and then we had the business intensive. So
Mhm,
you decided to join the business intensive.
mhm.
And I recall during that time, you had already had a show booked and ready, didn't you?
Um, we were in the process. We
Okay.
were in the process, yeah, we had just gone to that show, and it was really spinning, so, yeah, because I it was in July of last year. Yeah, July, um yeah, so because it was fresh in my head before we started or as we were starting, that's how I moved through the book club last year, was very intentional. And, a lot more notes, a lot more some of it didn't change. I will say that. Some of it didn't change, but some of it did.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know, the thing I part of the reason I did the business intensive was I wanted that interaction with the other people. I mean, that sounds silly, but it's really not. I was on a call this week with Rachel, and I mentioned that I was teaching in a few weeks, and she typed in the chat, she says, "You're gonna do great." And I'm going, "Oh my gosh, that's so sweet," because we don't know each other. We'll probably never ever meet, but knowing that I've got somebody thousands of miles away cheering me on, that's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty
That
cool.
is really cool. I always get really excited when you share your progress in the Facebook group that we have. It's been really cool to watch you
So
go to.
I think I'm the only one.
I know it's not as active as it was during the club, so I'm hoping to that every time we run it, it gets a little more active. So
Yep. Yep.
hopefully, we'll talk. If you guys are in the club, if you're listening to this, go ahead and post your what you're doing because we'd love to hear. Okay, I'd love to know now that the club ended and it's been a few months. What have you done since we stopped the book club or it closed? It ended.
With regards to the class,
Yes.
everything. Okay. Um the I got it, through the class we got it um pretty much on paper, outlined, that's the word, outlined. Um, and I was like, okay, so I think we finished book club in September or October. I think it was September. And so the rest of the year, I still had a few local shows, just arts and craft shows. Um, but by January, I had been accepted as a vendor and a teacher, and I said, okay, we need to set a 6-month goal. I mean, a 6-month plan. So we started in January. I said, but one thing I need to do is I need to do a test class, because this, not that the information is new to me and not that teaching is new to me, but teaching sewing is new to me. And which I'm sure I've taught, you know, as the years have gone on, but in a class setting like that, I didn't. So I asked a friend who I knew was part of a sewing group if her sewing group would like to join and be kind of my test group. And then I had 2 or 3 other people that I knew from church, and they came and joined in. So we had 9 people at that one. My husband sat in. He was my note taker. You know, what can we change? What do we need to, and that was good feedback. So we did that in March. I missed the quarterly meetup because of that, because we were there. But it turned out really, really good. I did learn a lot, and I know what I need to do different, so I changed a bunch of things. And
Okay.
then I got to thinking, I need to follow up with these girls, these ladies. And sometime end of April, 1st May, I said, okay, so who finished your quilt? Because we didn't get finished in the 3 hours, and nobody had. So I said, okay, then let's set up another one, and come if you can. Yeah. And I didn't have any of my supplies. I had nothing. And I actually had a new person come in that day. But one of the other people had gotten a kit, and she just said, here, you can have mine. She hadn't started on hers at all. So I said, you can get one, and I didn't charge anything for it. I didn't charge for the material. I didn't charge for my time, for either one. And but it was good for me because I learned a lot. And just, if you're wondering, my house is too small, or we don't have, like, our community does not have, well, we have 3 community rooms. One is in the administration building, which houses the police department and all administration. We have one at the high school, so you have to rent that one out, money wise. And then we have one at the library, and that was no charge. You could book it for as long as you needed. You could even have it multiple days. So check your local library if you need, if you need a space,
That's really good
because,
to know.
and some libraries have sewing machines. Some libraries have long arms. So mine does not.
I'm glad that you said that because we do have teachers that like to start for free. Now, I always encourage you to get something in return. There's something reciprocal about showing up and getting something in return. So I love the fact that you got feedback. I think that is what you got in return. So it wasn't just, this was all free. What you did was you were able to practice. You had your husband in there taking notes. And then if I recall, you still asked them questions. Is that
Mhm.
right? And you
I
got
did.
some really good feedback.
I sent him a Google Doc just to, fill in. And like I said, there were only 9. I think I only heard from maybe 5, maybe 6, but only 5, about that many. And one of the girls said, because what we do in part of the class is they have a shopping list that they go and check off, what, oh, I need a zipper, I need 15 buttons, I need,
You have everything there, right? And they go in
everything's
there, they
there.
go
And
shopping.
yeah, in bins, and they get to go shopping, but it's shopping with a twist. And they only get like 60 seconds max at
Oh,
each station. Yeah. And so some of the things like the zipper and like the really big clunky buttons that you only get a couple of, those will kind of get grouped together. But one of the girls, in her response, she said, it's like speed dating for materials. I loved it. So anyway.
I love that. I think it's fast, it's fun, it's a game, but it also
Mhm.
allows you to manage the time.
Yeah.
Because, like, we could
Yep.
go shopping forever, right?
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll sit there and overthink everything.
Yeah.
No, I love that, that's really fun.
Was it decision paralysis, I think is what they call it, so but yeah, it's just a fun way, and, these are different quilts, they're different, and, kinda break the ice between, "Oh, okay, there's my quilt, but now we get to do fun stuff," so uh,
So that leads me to what happened after that. So you did your free class, and then how did the show go? And wait, before we do that, I do want to say that 9 people I think is a really great group. Because as a teacher, sometimes it's hard to keep track of so many people. When I was teaching in person, my classroom only held about 8 people.
okay.
And so anytime it filled up, I was just barely able to get to everybody and make sure that everybody was on the same page. I worked
Yeah,
with beginners mostly, so that's part of it.
mhm.
But I think nine's a
That
great
that
group.
was a challenge because I had the sewing group at one table, just the way they sat down. So I
Mhm.
had 5 over there, and then I had 4 at the other table. And so I even had the teacher of the class, like the sewing group, then it started as a class. She taught them how to sew. So
Okay.
she was very advanced. I could not keep her busy. And then I had a brand new sewer at the other table, and it was like, come on, come on. But she was the one who actually, before we met that second time, she had everything done except the binding. And I'm like, way to go. Yeah, I was so proud of her. So, yeah.
That makes me wonder, because in the book we have the meet your students section,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering, is there anything from the book that helped you, that you recalled during the class that might have helped?
With that,
Maybe with class management in general.
yeah, I don't know. I set this up as like an intro to fidget quilts.
Okay.
So you're just making a basic, it's not basic, but it's just the patchwork, which is where I started. And um eh, but I didn't take into account that different people are going to be on different sewing levels. And but how I'm going to kind of get around that is in my presentation of the sewing part of it. Um, we're just gonna, because what I like to do is I like to lay everything out on my quilt sandwich before I do anything else, just to make sure everything's gonna fit. I don't have a hole, whatever. Take a
Yeah,
picture with my camera, and then because you have to move everything to then get everything sewed back down, right? I never remember where anything goes. So that's what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually build your um put the embellishments on the quilt as I'm going through the slides, you
okay.
know, and then if there's like special things that you need to know how to put this thing on or that thing on, then that's how we're going to do it. So, and then I revamped the pattern so they kind of match the class. So, whether they, you know, take the class or not take the class, they'll still have all the information. So,
That's excellent, and that
yeah.
actually follows a lot of the advice in the book, so that's really exciting to hear that that is the direction you're going. I
Hmm.
love it. Okay,
Yep.
so
Yep.
let's go to the next one where okay, so you got your free class done, you got some really good feedback.
Hmm.
How did the actual class at the show go?
It hasn't. Um,
Oh,
it's in 2 weeks.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks. Um, but I do know I have 11 people signed up for my class, and they sent out uh, it's if they weren't begging, but they asked people in the quilt guild for classroom helpers, and mine got filled. So I do have classroom helper, and so yeah,
That's gonna come in handy, especially with 11. That's
yeah.
great that you had 9 people, now you have 11, so you've got I'm so excited for you, Tanya. Are you excited? Do you feel ready?
um, I think yeah, I really need to get back into the PowerPoint, and I've done it once in the last week or so. But I really need to do it every day and just to
Mhm.
get back. fresh in my head and, make sure I'm not way over on time and that kind of things. We used to teach teenagers how to teach kids, and the thing we kept saying was, know your story, know your story. And that's what I have to do, is I have to know my story. Even though I've written the story, I don't always remember it. So,
No, I'm the same way.
uh,
Oh,
uh,
that's excellent. And don't forget about the curriculum map. So if you need to go back and
right.
read through those again, that can be a great way to warm your
Yep.
brain back up and then get up
Yep.
those slides. Oh, that's so exciting.
A lot of my curriculum map I did put down in the notes on my PowerPoint. So I'm utilizing all of that. So yeah. Yep.
Oh, thanks for having me here. Okay, that's excellent. So this is a marketing podcast. So one of my questions is about how did you market your first class? You kind of told us about, but you can go ahead and tell us again if you had anything else to add. But how did you get people to hear about the classes that you're hosting?
Okay. I'm in with a group. It's a quilter's destination. They put on 4 regional shows from from March until September. 2 of the shows this year are brand new, but they're doing pretty well. Um, and so they do most of the marketing, and most of they have a big following now, which I guess they've been doing this for a while. I'm not sure how long, but they've been doing it for a while. And so they have a following that, they'll put it out, emails and stuff, but they ask us to also put it out there because we can reach people that aren't on their list. And, so it could be just as simple as forwarding a post, so yeah, that's it. I've also posted it, in my email. I've posted it, on social media, that kind of thing. I really haven't had to do a whole lot. Um, but it's getting me used to the rhythm of doing it. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
It does. It does. So I've seen some of the posts you're sharing. So you're definitely so your email marketing. So you're sharing it in your emails. Do you have a weekly newsletter, a monthly newsletter that you send out and then you're just kind of sticking this in, or
It
how does
comes
that
out
come together?
twice a month,
Twice a month.
3 if there's 5 Tuesdays. It's just, the way it works. But and yeah, the last several have had it in there for something. I might switch it up here or there, but it's in there. So
Okay. So you're doing some email marketing and then you're also doing some social media marketing. Are you
mhm.
posting on just Facebook, Instagram? Where are you posting?
Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they getting any engagement or there's just kind of passive posting because they have such a great following?
um I'm not sure. I mean, I can count on one hand who I know is gonna respond, not even respond, but react,
Mhm.
and it's the same ones.
Okay.
But there's a lot of things that I see that I don't react to.
So I'd love to hear, and we talked about this a little bit right before the recording, but how are you growing your email list?
Um, this this year, I really haven't grown it much. I did do something last week that I should have done a long time ago. I had one a long time ago and I just took it down. But I added a pop-up form that, hey, join us. I made it light, I made it fun. I tried to make it light and make it good.
Mhm.
But the s- so I've probably already gotten about 12 people signed up just since Friday. So now I had a couple of things come out Sunday and Tuesday that might have that they may have come to me from somewhere else, but that pop-up was there and they just decided to join. I but for this show, one of the things we do, one of the fidgets we make are marble mazes, and it's kind of what I'm known for around here. It's just well, just a marble inside piece of fabric, and it's got a maze on it. So
And
um,
you push the marble through the little maze, right? That's the
yeah,
fidget
and
part?
you just and there's we have 3 different sizes. We have 4 different sizes. And so what I decided to do is put marbles in a jar, and I'm trying to think, how am I gonna like, have I lost all my marbles? But, um, but to put it on there, guess how many marbles in the jar, and collect their name, their email, and then of course their guess. And then that's how I'm going to collect emails from this. And one of my goals with this show, and maybe not this one, this show was like 3 hours away from me. The other show in September is an hour and a half away from me. So I feel like, okay, I'm gonna practice this one and then I'll really implement it in September. Um, but it's to really get involved with the guilds, and kind of move it one more step. And yeah, but again, it needs to be organic. I can't. Whenever try to force something, it doesn't work. So I just have learned to just maybe put it out there, but yeah. So,
Yeah, opening up for invitation is it's so much more natural. It feels a lot better than it does trying to
mhm,
force yourself onto different entities, no matter who you're talking to, whether it's forcing online or forcing, I'm thinking social media. Like when you post and you're not really feeling it,
mhm,
it really usually does bad. But if you're excited about something, usually it does well. And that's what I hear about the pop up. You said you tried to make it sound fun, and then you
mhm,
had 12 people join since Friday, and right
mhm,
now it's Wednesday.
mhm,
So it's only a
yeah,
handful of days.
yeah,
So I think you're hitting the mark if you're making it sound fun and they're joining it because it sounds fun.
yeah,
And then the marble game, I think that fits what you're doing. It's a game
mhm,
and it's fun. And you get to talk about why you have the marbles, which leads right into the mazes and leads into what you
yeah.
do. And it leads into, so I think that that's brilliant.
And then the other thing we're gonna do is in the booth, they also have a shopping list, and so they will go shopping as well. So
I love
it's a
that.
different list because it's a different order that they get the pieces, but yeah. So and I don't know if you've seen it, but I did make a I made a sign. I wanted something bright and colorful and something to really draw people in. So I made a 5 foot by 3 foot fidget quilt, and we wrote it out, fidget quilt, and it's
Uh-huh.
got fidgets all over it. So yeah, it's fun. I'll have to send you a picture.
Yes, please send me a picture. I want to see it. I know that if I went to a show with my kid, he would definitely be stopping and like playing with all of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And I really love the work that you do. My son is neurodivergent, and I know that fidgets help him in
Hmm.
so many different ways. And I love that this is your niche. I love that you're teaching it, and that you finally stepped out of your comfort zone and into the classroom. Like I think it is an amazing thing that you're doing, and I'm so glad you've chosen to go this way. I'm really excited about everything you have coming up. Which, speaking of which, is there anything else you want to talk about that's coming?
Anything else? I don't think so. The book club.
Yes. Are you? Do
um,
you want to join again? Are you planning on joining again? Or
I
next
I
month?
haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Just just because it starts like the week right before we go to the show. So
Which is
um,
the easiest week. So if you do just wanna just
true,
ride the wave.
true, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Make
yeah,
sure
so
I'm doing it right.
yeah. And we do have the free and the business intensive. So the free one is just emails. So anybody who's interested in joining the book club, we have free, it's emails, and then we post in the Facebook group, and we have post every Friday where you post your homework. So you get
Mhm,
homework every week. There's to help you work through the book so you can get the curriculum map done, you can get your objective done, you can work on your marketing, which a big part of that is just your class description. And
mhm,
then we get into how do you want to sell this? How do you want to get the word out about your classes? And then we talk about the framework that's in the book. So then it helps you stay accountable. It helps us cheer you on. And then we have quarterly meetups after that. Now, we also have the business intensive, which is a small fee. I think it's $45. I always forget if it's 45 or 47, but it's right there. And we do the same thing, except we meet live every 2 weeks on Zoom, where, like Tanya talked about, we get to meet as a group. And what I typically do is answer some questions in the beginning, do breakout rooms so that you guys can actually talk about what you're working on in smaller setting where you get feedback from each other. And then we bring everybody back, answer any more questions. And then we do that every other week. And then you also get to turn in the homework and then I give direct feedback. So you turn in like your class description and I will give you feedback on it, ways to improve it. I always love to do positioning too. So I'm like, hey, you could do it this way. That was really good. Or we could do it like this, or you could do it like this, or you can grab all of these, or you could just disregard because you may be going in a different direction than what I'm seeing. So it's a great way to get some new ideas. It's a great way to get feedback directly from me as the instructor and me as an author. And just get another set of eyes, at least one other, because it'll be mine. But you can also share in our group and get a group's worth of eyes on it before you launch it out into the world. So, Tanya, now that you've gone through the book club twice, what is the number one thing you think that helped you be successful as a teacher?
I think just taking advantage of the resources around me and then being patient to let things happen organically.
And I love that it's organic, but you've also set the stage for it to happen.
Right.
So, I don't want anybody hearing this and thinking it was an accident because you set the
Oh,
pop-up.
no. Right.
You applied to be a teacher. You put the word out on social media that you were working on Fidget Quilts. There's a level of work that you did to make the organic
Mhm.
marketing and networking happen.
Right. And, as I look back on it, every step of the way that there was a different thing that was added, it, it built my confidence, which I needed. And but but when I would do this, the first thing, then when it was time for the second thing, I was ready for it. And then when it's time for the third thing, I was ready for that.
Tony, do you have any advice for someone who is thinking about starting to teach?
Um yeah, I mean, if you have an idea and you aren't really sure what to do, how to get started, because that's a lot where I was too. It was I knew I needed to take that step to teach. Um, Go ahead and sign up for the book club, even if it's the free tier. You're going to get so much out of it. You get to make friends easier if you take the business intensive. So
That's so true.
I, I have I have made friends just through those 2 sessions, and it's good. So,
There's so much value in just getting in the room
mhm,
sometimes.
yeah. I heard somebody say this week that, um, the what you're doing is bringing people together, but the core of it is the actual community. So, I thought that was really good. So,
That is really good.
mhm.
Oh, great. Okay. So one last question is where can we connect with you if we're interested in what you're doing and getting some classes on fidget quilts?
Yeah, you can find me at Memory Barn Studio. Pretty much that's my website. There's a Facebook page and Instagram. So,
And then we will link all of that below the
okay.
episode in the show
Mhm,
notes so that everyone can find you. So thank you so much for
mhm.
being here, Tanya.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was fun.